Hello Mabels, I am back with another one of my fun talking head videos. Today I want to talk to you about target setting. Now this is not target setting in school, this is personal targets, so goal setting. I'm going to talk to you about something called SMART targets. It's a technique that we can use to help us achieve something measurable. It's something we can use to help us manage our targets and manage our goals and work towards them in a realistic manner. Okay, so instead of just being a normal talking head, I'm gonna be a little bit fancy and we're gonna do a little bit of presentation as well. So let's talk about SMART targets. And SMART is an acronym. So what is a SMART target? Well, SMART stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time frame. And I'm going to go through each of them headings. You may have heard of this before, you may not. If you have heard of this before, I'm sorry if I'm repeating myself, but pay attention because you might get the occasional bit of good information. If you haven't, this could be quite relevant to a lot of you. So, specific. What does it mean by being specific? Well, when you're setting yourself a goal or a target, you need to actually have something specific in mind you want to achieve. Where do you want to go? How do you want to get there? So you need to be specific in what you're trying to do. I'm going to use an example as I go through this to help you appreciate what it is we're trying to look for here. And the example I'm going to use is myself and a target that I've set myself. So something that I want to do is improve my video editing skills. And it's quite a broad thing I'm looking at, but it's relatively specific in the sense that I'm looking at video editing, video recording. So I'm specifically setting myself the target of improving the software knowledge that and the knowledge of the software I'm using, of improving my ability to use the software, and improving the quality of the videos I'm producing. So the last two videos you've had have been just talking heads of me. Now you've got one of a video presentation with a talking head. This is something I didn't know how to do a little while ago. And now I know because I've put the effort in to learn and find out and do a little bit of practice and play around. So I'm specifically setting myself the target of improving video editing and video production. Measurable. You've got to be able to measure your targets to know if you're getting anywhere. That's why we do testing every year and every term and every module in school. You've got to be able to measure what it is we're doing. So make sure what it is you're doing is measurable. I'm measuring what I'm doing by how long it takes me to edit the video. I'm also measuring the quality of video I'm producing and what I'm doing within the videos. When I first started making these videos for this lockdown, and I've been making videos for a while, but they've been, even by my current standards, basic and simple. The ones I'm making now are more advanced with the software and the skills I'm using and how they're edited and even just the quality of the final render. So one way I'm measuring it is how long it takes me to edit each video. A 30-minute video a few weeks back took me somewhere in the region of 3 hours to edit. Now I can edit a 30-minute video in just under an hour and a half, maybe 40 minutes, 45 minutes if I'm cutting some corners and lowering the standards. So these are things that I can measure. I can see the improvements, and that's a massive thing with any sort of goal or target, is seeing your improvements. If you can see that you're improving, if you can see that you're making progress, that makes such a huge difference because it helps motivate you. Being able to say, right, I want to get here by that time. I'm actually making my progress. I'm making my way there. If you can't see any progress you're making, you might feel disheartened. You might not realize you're making progress, which is such a terrible position to be in, to have made progress, not realized it and given up. So we need to make sure what we're doing is measurable. Achievable. Is what you're trying to do actually achievable? Is your goal to be a multi-billionaire, control a third of the world's wealth? Well, it is achievable, but it's highly, highly unlikely and highly difficult to do. If your goal is, I want to get out of bed tomorrow, I'm pretty sure that's achievable. But there are some people that may struggle with that, but you need to set yourself something that is achievable, but make it a challenge. So video editing for me is achievable. I have a relatively good computer. It's nothing's fancy, but it can do most things. So it is achievable for me to do it. No, I'm not going to be able to produce 4K footage, but I can make the basic stuff, and that is achievable for me. Is it something that some people find really easy? Yeah, I'm sure there's people out there that find this really easy and laugh at what I'm doing. But I know there's a lot of other people out there that think, wow, actually that's quite impressive when you look at it and look at everything that's going into it. And when you try and do it yourself, you think, okay, well, I've got to do this, I've got to do that, I've got to do that. Okay, there's a little bit more to it than I thought. So make sure what you're doing is achievable. Is it within your grasp? If it's just outside your grasp, that's perfect. If it's just beyond what you're capable of doing, it means you're pushing yourself further. It means that you're trying to get to that next level, that next step. And that means you are making significant progress, not just towards your goal, but as a person as well, because you are improving who you are. And I'm going to link this back to what I was saying in a previous video. You're improving your sellability, your advertisability to potential employers, to potential opportunities. The more you can do, the more you can show you've progressed, it's worth so much. Relevant. Is the activity you're doing relevant to your goal? So for my video editing, if I'm doing any research, if I'm finding out new bits of software, are they actually relevant to what I want to do? I spent best part of an hour the other day looking into virtual audio cables to try and route different audio things through my videos. Was it relevant for what I was doing? No, it wasn't. It was absolutely irrelevant, because not only could I not do what I was aiming to do, I didn't actually need it. I was interested in it, and I was really interested in actually having a go at it and trying to get it working, but I didn't need it, and it wasn't relevant to what I was trying to do. The big one with relevance is being able to identify what is relevant to what you're trying to achieve. And sometimes it's, okay, do I need to do that? Other times it's distractions. Is what you're doing a distraction? Are you just looking down that because you want to look at that? Or is that actually something you need to do? Are you doing that because you need to do that? Or is that a distraction for you? It's simple things that make a big difference. And where possible, avoid YouTube. That thing is a rabbit hole you do not want to go down. I can't count the number of times I've been lost in a YouTube rabbit hole. I look at a video for something relevant, then I'll watch another video for something that's sort of relevant to what I was doing, and before I know it, I'm watching something completely irrelevant, laughing myself silly, and I've gone completely off topic. Procrastination is dangerous. So make sure what you're doing is relevant to your goal. I'm not saying you've got to spend every waking minute working towards one goal. That is unhealthy and that will destroy anyone. But make sure the regular tasks you're doing towards your goal are relevant. And time frame. When do you want to get this done by? What is your end goal date? When do you want to achieve this by? So for me, I've got regular time frames of producing every video that I'm making for my students. Some are short, some are long, some take a lot longer than others to produce, some are a lot quicker than others to produce. So setting yourself time frames, not just deadlines for tasks like what I'm working with on a regular basis, but well, by the end of the month I want to be able to do this. By the end of the year I want to be able to do that. Now for some of you it could be by the end of the lesson I want to be able to do this. By the end of the week I want to be able to do this. By the end of the module. For others it's by the end of this year I want to be able to do. By the end of this course I want to get to. So it's setting yourself time frames to meet your targets. I'm going to go back a few slides to measurable, and if you have a look at that image there for measurable, there's a nice little graph and it's a little bit comical, you know, the past to the future, sucking, not sucking. And one thing I want to point out on that is that the graph is not a line. In fact, the graph isn't always positive. You will get better and worse with regards to your progress as things go on, and that's the same for anything. You will have massive periods where you're making loads of progress, and all of a sudden you might make no progress, or you might actually go backwards. You might undo some of the work you've done, and there's a number of different reasons for that. Losing focus and concentration, learning the wrong skills, making big mistakes. One of these things that's going to be applying to you in the coming years, in a few years' time, is when you want to start learning to drive. And that graph is very, very relevant for that. When you start learning to drive, you'll pick up lots and lots of skills very, very quickly. It won't feel like you're making progress. Then all of a sudden you feel like you're making progress. And then you'll have a lesson where something bad happens. You stall the car, you miss a turning, something goes wrong in your lesson, and you lose confidence because it's gone wrong. And you'll feel like you've gone backwards. You haven't. You've realized that you need to concentrate on some specific skills. So it's like what I was talking about in another video that I've done for you about learning from the things that happen. A mistake is only a mistake if you don't learn from it. So every time you have a backslide, learn from it and make the next bit a little bit higher. And every time you make an improvement, you want that improvement to be higher than the previous improvement. So gradually getting better and better and better every time. Even if between every improvement you go down, you don't go as far down as you did before. And so on average, you're gradually going to go up higher and higher and higher. So, forge your path. And this is my sort of message to you. If you follow these steps towards the basic target setting, you can apply this to a whole range of things in your life. Short term, long term, big and small. It's forging your own path. And this is what I'm trying to help you with the skills to do. I can't tell you how to do everything. I can't give you the exact plan for how to do this, how to do that. But I can help you forge a path and forge your own way into getting there. An example I want to use with you is a previous student of mine. She was really into photography and told me that her career choice was to be a photographer, professional photographer. She wanted to do some really artistic stuff. She had some great ideas. So I asked her what some people might think is a horrible question. What have you done to improve your photography recently? And she couldn't answer with anything. She hadn't done anything towards becoming a professional photographer. I said, have you got a camera? No. Have you got a phone? Yeah, I've got a phone. Have you been taking photos? Oh, no. Well, you're never going to get to where you want to be. You're never going to reach your goal if you don't start working towards it. You've got to start working towards it. And I'm not saying that within a few weeks you could become a professional photographer, but she could have started making progress, got some experience under her belt, even if it's just basic taking some photos of your dinner. I don't understand why people do that, but apparently it's a thing. Just taking photos, learning about it, doing some research, watching some videos on it, reading some articles and blog posts. It all makes a difference. Now, some of you will have things you want to work towards. Some of you will have goals, and some of you will have targets that are important to you. You've got to think, how am I going to get there? Now, you might be into your sport, and you might think, well, it's obvious for me. I want to get better at my sport. I want to get better at this, better at that. Brilliant. If practicing is what gets you there, excellent. But then go back to those other skills, those other attributes towards the SMART targets, and think, right, what specifically am I doing to get there? Is what I'm doing relevant? If you're into your martial arts and you spend 6 weeks learning how to do a specific kick or some throw that is of no use to you because it's not actually part of what you're supposed to be learning, then it's not relevant. Is it measurable? Can you see the improvements? Can you see where you are making improvements? Can you do things that you couldn't have done a few weeks or months ago? You've got to keep an eye on these things. Now, we'll do things, hobbies that have absolutely no goals set to them at all. There's no target in them whatsoever. And that's great, because you haven't always got to have a goal or a target. But when you do, you need to be focused on it. Okay, I know this is a slightly longer video, so I will stop in a second. What I would like from you this week is one thing you're doing to improve your way towards a goal or a target. So just send me a message of one thing that you are going to do this week or have done in the last week to get you one step closer to a target that you're trying to achieve or a goal that you're trying to meet. Okay, guys. As always, if you need me, give me a shout.